The Securities and Exchange Commission charges 5 executives from the now defunct law firm Dewey and LeBoeuf with fraud. We'll have a deep analysis of that and more right here, right now on Lunch Break. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Simon Constable. And joining us to discuss this is legal analyst from Zughauser Group. It's Kent Zimmermann. And Kent, you are a trained lawyer. You say a recovering lawyer, but you have legal training and you advise lawyers, and that's what you do. This is amazing. A law firm being charged with fraud. Lawyers being charged with fraud, which is what they spend a lot of time doing. So the first thing is we're going to see these guys criminally charged and then civilly charged.
So the criminal indictment was unsealed yesterday. It was a site at the courthouse here in Manhattan. You had the people who were running what was for a long time an extremely prestigious law firm. It was named after a former governor of New York, but the people who used to be running, the executives who used to be running this law firm, were led in handcuffs into court yesterday and charged criminally. There's also since been a civil complaint filed by the Securities and Exchange Commission as well.
And in terms of the criminal, it's up to 25 years in jail. On the civil complaint, what does the SEC want to get there?
They're after money damages, so there could be significant money damages.
And that will be for the people who lent the firm money, and then penalties for the fraud on top of that.
They're going to be looking for wrongdoing and misrepresenting the firm's financial condition. And they're going to be looking at the executives who ran the firm, and they may look at others. Their problem is that the firm tried to borrow money under false pretenses by covering up the dire financial straits that the firm was in. That's the problem that they see.
Allegation is that they cooked the books and then wrote emails about it saying, well, we've cooked the books now. How does that play out in court? What if you were advising someone who's been charged with this, one of these people? So how to defend yourself against this? What do you do?
It's not easy. So first of all, you hit on a couple important points, Simon. So I point out, you said they allegedly cooked the books, and then they wrote about the fact they cooked the books, and I just want to spend a second on that. Not only is the allegation that they committed fraud on an ongoing basis, but amazingly, in emails, they wrote within the firm about, quote, cooking the books, about, quote, fake income, about, quote, clueless auditors. The cardinal rule that lawyers typically teach their clients is don't put anything incriminating in emails, and that's exactly what they did. So how do they defend against it? Their attorneys are expected to harshly attack the use of those emails on their own as evidence. However, the problem for the defense is likely to be that there are expected to be corroborating witnesses who will back up what was in the emails. And if that does in fact happen, it's going to make it more difficult to review the emails.
Do you think some of the defendants will be encouraged to say, turn coat on their former colleagues and say, oh, yeah, if you let me off, I'll incriminate. Like, if I'll incriminate you if I'm let off the charges.
I would not be surprised if there's interest in doing that. I don't know if it's too late to do that. It may be, but certainly the state's going to need to prove its case in the criminal case. The federal government's going to need to prove its case in the SEC investigation, and so certainly they're going to be looking for as much corroborating evidence in the form of witness testimony, in addition to the hard evidence they have in the emails.
Why should anyone care? This is a prestigious law firm which is about 1 million miles away, metaphorically, than for most people. I mean, most people are never going to step foot in such a firm. Why should we care?
So you trust lawyers to be able to carry out justice. We live in a society that's governed by the rule of law. Lawyers help individuals and companies enforce the rule of law, stand up for their rights. You typically can trust the lawyers. In this case, it turns out that allegedly the lawyers, the people at least who were running this once prestigious law firm, were running what the prosecutors say was a corrupt criminal enterprise. It's not okay to have lawyers who we should be trusting acting like that, and that's why people should care about that.
And at the end of the case, we're going to find out if they are crooks or not,
yeah,
as is alleged. Thank you very much.
We
appreciate
Simon.
Your time. So that's Kent Zimmermann of the Zughauser Group.